I wouldn't have been able to run without clean elections. We have seen an enormous opening up of interest of people getting involved in the race and in elections in general, and I think young people particularly have been particularly energized this year, and so the fundraising advantage that an incumbent has is awfully difficult to overcome. And so clean elections is a way to build grassroots support rather than being dependent on the kind of special interest support that you just don't have as a 25-year-old taking on a 68-year-old lifetime politician. We've found that people who've given just $5 to my campaign, they feel they've invested something in it, and it's more than just signing a petition. Or if you've given $5, it may not sound like an awful lot of money, but we've been able to build a grassroots team just from the process of going out and asking people for their financial support. And when I first told people that I was running for office, they said, "You're crazy because he's going to be able to bury you with spending." And fortunately, we've got the clean election system, which takes that advantage away. If you can't make 150 contributions from the residents of your towns for $155 contributions, you really have to ask how much support do you have. So I wouldn't support any system with a lower qualifying threshold because I think that's a pretty basic test. If you can't get that kind of support, then we probably should be getting public funding. Without clean elections, I would be in my office calling up supporters asking for money because I would have to raise an inordinate amount of money to compete with the incumbent I'm challenging. People really see the positive, and they understand that the system is better off without candidates who are beholden to big money special interests. I'm basically full-time knocking doors, talking to voters, meeting voters, and that's where I think it should be. I think it's a lot of hard work for me to go door to door so often on a 100-degree day sometimes. I wish I were sitting in an office making phone calls, but I think the system is healthiest when you've got politicians out there in our communities talking to people, listening to their actual concerns. It's grassroots democracy the way it was supposed to be. And we've got people, volunteers in here 7 days a week, helping out either on the phones or data entry or writing letters to their friends or knocking doors. And that wealth of, again, grassroots support is really what needs to make the difference whenever you're in a race against somebody who's been around for an awful long time. Once you've given money to the campaign, you are invested in it. You've bought into my campaign. The money changes the game. And not having that game changer means finally this is about issues, it's about values, instead of being about who can raise the most money. We will finally be able to have an election where issues rule the day, and that's the way it should be, in my opinion. This is a return of power in politics to the local grassroots level. Yes, I've certainly talked to a good friend of mine who's a state representative, came to me and asked me, well, what's this law that we just passed? Would you tell me what you're experiencing it? What are the requirements? Should I even bother with it? And I encouraged him to do it. I said it really shouldn't be too much of a problem if you've been there for a while, if you have that support, and it's a good way for you to reconnect with people who put you there in the first place and reach out to your supporters, your longtime friends, people who've been supporting you for years. Well, now they're going to really take ownership over your campaign, and that's the way you should like it. And I mean, who do you want to ultimately hold the power? Do you want it to be voters, or do you want it to be the folks with the money? So it's made me directly accountable. It's made me have to go out there and earn people's support the hard way. And it's also helped me, I think, be a better candidate in the sense that I know what's on people's mind a heck of a lot better than if I hadn't had that experience to go out there, meet them, listen to what their concerns are, because I can hear what's on the minds of voters in a way that I just wouldn't have been able to do if I hadn't had the time to go out there and the real necessity to go out there and meet voters and listen to their concerns. You don't have to worry about running for re-election, about having that support, because as long as the people are supporting you, then you'll win. As long as the people are supporting you, you'll get your $155 contributions. You'll be able to reach that threshold, and you won't have to worry about big business or whoever else that you've angered coming and running against you. Young people all over the state who are running for office, who are able to run against incumbents because the financial advantage is off the table. 2 years from now, once we've had this year behind us, we'll see even more young, qualified candidates come up and make people work for their jobs. And I think that's ultimately healthy for the system.